how to do it.
Wait, what were you saying before?
I know. I would say I see the theme here.
Oh yeah, we gotta make sure of
Oh,
our background.
I was like, oh my god.
Um,
Hello, guys.
I was just saying, like, I think the right time to release a Wonder Woman the anime series would be like alongside Paradise Lost, or like Wonder Woman multiple like mediums.
No, true. I think that's the one thing I will say. Like, I think that's the one thing I will say that they should like do it perfectly if they could bypass the whole Morrison stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I'm not entirely sure how much control they have now. Because I mean, they figured out
Yeah,
something with Donna, so that's no longer an issue. I think they probably settled. I think what's likely happening is that they're both gonna like settle a deal to where. Well, I think all of the creators are gonna settle a deal with DC, where DC owns the full rights to all of the characters. I think that's inevitably gonna happen.
yeah. Okay, okay. Now I forget how to move my mic just in case. Okay, but God, it's so loud. But yeah, I do think they need to start doing that. At least push Donna more too, because if they can't do it with Diana, I think Donna's the safe bet.
Hmm. Yeah, I think. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the reason why they had trouble with Donna is because she looks so much like Wonder Woman, to the point where if they started doing that, it would have basically been like a ripoff of Wonder Woman. So it's like the Marston family is like that's basically just Wonder Woman. You just change the name of the character.
Yeah,
Now I imagine that's why they stopped calling Donna Wonder Girl and they made it so that Wonder Girl was now just Donna Troy or Darkstar or whatever. I think I can imagine that's why we have Donna with so many different origins because initially she was supposed to be the successor for like Wonder Woman, like she was Wonder Girl and then she was going to be the successor of Wonder Woman, and then it didn't happen and then she got like rebooted again to where she was like not even associated like with like the Amazons and stuff like that. So I think they were trying to like make a workaround or something.
yeah. No, I think that's what they were really trying to do, and I think they didn't know how to go around it because of the whole like, oh, how can we use her where she looks so much like, Diana in case, but also she has, a look to her that is like, we don't know how to use her because the Morrison family would have started to like sue or kind of like cause some kind of problems. And it's all about
Hmm.
like getting around from the Marston family, how you get away with it. And I'm
Yeah.
like I said before, they either have to do some kind of settlement or do some form of paying, or at least like they
Yeah.
have to wait for the public domain, and then they finally could do more and like more stuff.
Yeah. So I think I imagine, I think what's likely is going to happen is that, especially if the DCU ends up being as profitable as it is likely going to be, I think they're just going to buy out or they make a deal with the creators to just buy all the characters back to where they have like the full licensing and everything. Because really, it's the license that's the problem. Because they have a license, and they don't really have the full ownership of the characters. So I think what's likely gonna happen is WB is gonna like probably like be in like a room with all these like creators and stuff like that, or they approach them individually probably, but they'll settle them and they'll make a deal with all of them. I think that's even why like with Schuster probably what they're gonna do as well. So like they're just gonna settle it with everyone to be like, hey, we own the characters now, deal with it.
No, honestly, I think that is probably the best idea, and I think if I feel like it's the only idea they could go with. Other than that, I feel like in the meantime they have to give us more women characters. I feel like DC cannot just sit there and not utilize the women characters that they do have. And
Hmm.
I feel like some Wonder Woman fans need to realize that, like, you know, And some of us have to realize we do. There are Wonder Woman fans that I know, because like earlier, it was like, "Oh, JT, is yours his favorite? It's Vixen," and I might like, yeah, I may like Vix a little bit more, but I feel like every Wonder Woman fan, even though they love Wonder Woman because she's so informative, I think there's always been women characters that they do love a little bit more than Diana,
Like for
even
me, it's
within the
Barbara.
Wonder. Yeah, and for me, yeah, it's Vixen. But even within the Wonder family, we love characters that did more than Diana. Like for me, it's always Nubia, and sometimes it can be Yara, depending which a better day. But usually Nubia.
Hmm.
And even Hippolyta has become my favorite too because I empathize with Hippolyta. Hippolyta has a unique case of being like a Wonder Woman because she's much older, but she's also connected to Greek mythology in ways where Diana cannot be. Like
Hmm.
sometimes in some cases, um, but like you have your own favorite Wonder family member too. It's like
Yeah,
it's
Donna.
Donna.
Hmm. And
So I
yeah, like
think
I think that I hope that the Secret Six actually does well because I think Dreamer has the potential of becoming a fan favorite, especially because it's the only trans superhero that is gonna likely potentially have maybe her own solo run if Secret Six does well, and then with Canary right now they're doing like the whole like boxing thing, which I it's actually not that bad right now. I wish it wasn't Tom King writing it, but
yeah. I think with what you said with the other character,
Dreamer.
I think Dreamer is becoming really big, and I'm really happy. I'm just worried that I kind of wish I kind of wish they don't try. I hope the fandom, because the fandom's being nice, but I hope like sure fandom, like especially if they don't try like, oh, why she get in more than Diane? I'm Diane. I'm like, come on, she's a trans woman character. It's really rare to have a trans woman character that big be in already. We're able to come into the comics after a successful TV show. She's really popular in the comics, and she's really well
Mhm.
done, particularly too. And that's
Yeah,
really rare for this be her this visible.
yeah, and then it also connects her with the Legion of Superheroes because she's obviously like the ancestor of what's the actual one that she's an ancestor of? I forget.
Yeah, I forgot. Is it Dreamer? No, that's not Dreamer. But it's something.
Yeah, but it's
Oh
like
wait, Sarah said.
she's like the ancestor of one of the Legion of Superheroes. Maybe Phantasm knows.
Yeah, I think okay. So, Sarah said I agree with liking characters a bit more than Diana, but while I still want more for her. Yeah, I think I think Wonder Woman fans love Wonder Woman, but I think we also have like, I always have other favorite female characters, and then of course for me, I think Vixen. I love Vixen a little bit more than Diana,
Hmm.
and more than Wonder Woman. But I think that's fair because I feel like there's characters you. I love Wonder Woman, so Wonder Woman will always be my favorite. Not like she's never take out because she's like, if I
Hmm.
have to say the best, then is her and Vixen shared that number one spot for me, right? Because
Yeah.
I can't change the spot.
Hmm. Yeah, I think like a lot of it pulls from the fact that one woman can't even really be used. So it's like, I mean, it's like obviously I will always like support and love Wonder Woman. Like I don't think she'll ever be like irrelevant or anything like that. I don't think. I
Yeah,
think fans are probably concerned that she will become irrelevant. There's a lot of these like female characters take the mantles instead, or take the that number one spot. But I also feel like that just adds more potential for maybe the Marston family, like doing something to make sure that doesn't happen. Freaking Marston family.
but yeah, that's why I was like myself, my family. But no, let's go Wonder Woman. Yeah, but I think that's the thing too. Is Funko? I see that comment. You're not slick, but but I realistically, I do think we want more for Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman just needs to. I think it's just other women characters too. I think it's like we have other. I think it's a lot of women characters who are so diverse than Diana,
Mhm.
and in a
You even have
political
like Kate
standpoint.
Kane that is, I mean, obviously lesbian, but also Jewish, and
Yeah. I also love I love Batwoman. I love KK because it's so funny to me how she's become one of my top five already. But that's because she's queer, she's Jewish, and she has something to say. And I think Diana, an iconic feminist character. I think because Diana is so that is like really appearance is a white woman, and so I think it's really hard where
Mm-hmm.
I think where Vixen and Bad Women and other women of color could speak more. That's why I kind of like once they could not remove Diana, but once they could finally push Diana into a mainstream or something like that, I feel like they would not be afraid to push like Yara. Hopefully, because I think Yara is a
Mm-hmm.
perfect candidate to be Wonder Woman. And I think if they give more time, she definitely earns it. Or even Nubia. I think Nubia
Mm-hmm.
probably earned it so much more because Nubia not only she shows she's willing to be the queen of the Amazon, but she also have this like skill set that she's worthy of being the whole the mantle of Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. I fear a little bit for Nubia's sake because I know like no matter how you push it, when she gets introduced into the DCU, people are gonna be like, she's just a black woman.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, first of all, let's be real. Let's keep her true. Number one, she has more credentials than Diana. Love Diana, my girl, but her credential is real.
Yeah, that's why I feel like you gotta
No,
get someone like Serena Williams to do it. Because I mean, first of all, she's used to the shit talking anyways because of like tennis and stuff like that. But it's also like you really gotta get a big woman to play Nubia. Like she's gotta look bigger than Diana.
yeah, someone says that Yar has issue with, especially with the digital representation. No, that's true. I think this is why I had an issue with Jarrell Jones because
Hmm.
yes, that was a good intent to make Nubia, Yara, particularly Brazilian. But when you start to mess it up,
Hmm.
particularly, it kind of like why would you do that? Because like Yara is a great character. Yara, in
Hmm.
all intents and purposes, I think Rebirth does a lot of exploration with her. And I love that interaction she had with Hippolyta when she gave her that smile while she was eating like a chicken or drinking something, or her backing up Diana. I think it's like Yara also proved that she could be a great Wonder Woman too. And I
Hmm.
feel like nobody was against it. I think at this point, Wonder Woman fans, but even DC fans, are not against it because I feel like they want something new. And I think we're always stuck with Diana that they don't.
Yeah.
They're afraid
Like
to
we've
remove her
had so
somewhere.
many attempts to like replace her essentially. Like I mean obviously we had Donna for a brief moment, but then we had Artemis as well. And then like
But breathe,
Nubia of
yo.
course.
When I say breathe, like when we have the Who is Wonder Woman arc 1 year later story, that wasn't even brief. She just got jumped by the Rogues. The Rogues just jump her up at that point. She wasn't even a really fully Wonder Woman. She got jumped. The only time she's definitely is a Wonder Woman is
Yeah,
elsewhere stories.
I think Artemis might be the longest running of not Diana Wonder Woman.
Not exactly. I think it's Hippolyta because Hippolyta lasts
Oh
longer than
yeah,
she
yeah.
did.
I haven't really been thinking of Hippolyta.
So Hippolyta, the reason I say this is because Hippolyta lasts longer because Hippolyta after Artemis, she took over after like I would say between the middle of the John Byrne run, and so
Hmm.
Hippolyta kept being Wonder Woman only up to our wars arc. That event was something else, but that's when that whole famous she got unalive particularly. But
Hmm.
yes, Hippolyta is probably the one is if not the
Yeah,
longest
I
Wonder
kind of
Woman,
forgot
second
the.
Wonder Woman.
I always forget the Hippolyta is Wonder Woman as well because it's like normally she's just the mother.
Yeah. Also, they say poor Diana was done so dirty. Yeah, jump by. She was. And here's the thing: she would jump on the comic rogues. It wasn't even the heavy. Well, they're heavy hitters, but it's like Doctor Psycho. Well, Doctor Psycho was actually crazy that he was able to get that the knockout.
Hmm. Oh my god, this moment right here is my freaking. This is my Roman Empire. Because man, what? Why the frick would you do her like this? You show her, you tease her. Cool. I'm excited for the next project, and then the next project is Justice League dark. Apocalypse War. It's like, come on, man. It's like you really gotta do Donna like that, man. I will never forgive this moment. I will never forget. I will never let this go.
God.
Because
Oh my
like
God,
I
I'm
can't even
the
begin to
youngest member on the
describe my
team.
reaction when I saw her in Judas Contract. I'm like, oh my god, they're finally gonna do her. No, no, they're not. And it was also like that was also when they had the comic book accurate Superboy, and then they didn't. And like the saddest part is that like she's on those like she has like she's on the list of like those like behind the voice things, and but her page has nothing on it because nobody voiced her.
Oh
She
my
didn't even get to
God.
speak.
Poor Donna.
She didn't even get to
Donna is done.
speak.
Donna was so done, so dirty. It's like it's crazy. First in the Wonder Woman comic, she was barely she's actually, I counted this before. She's the shortest lived Wonder Woman theoretically. Not even theoretically, actually
Yeah, that makes
factual because
sense.
because
Because
then
obviously there was Nubia as
because
well.
she
That
got
was
so by ranking is Diana, Hippolyta, Artemis, Nubia. Cass beat her because of elsewhere stories more than anything,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Donna, and at this point, Donna got outranked by Trinity just because Trinity is set to got Wonder Woman too.
No, don't remind me of that. No.
So
Freaking
that's
Elizabeth,
a
the freaking Marston, whatever the fuck her name is.
I think there's enough. That's another reason why I think nobody actually talks about it when it comes to um when it comes to like Elizabeth, because I think, and I said it before, like I said, if Yara was created as a way to try to find a loophole away out of Diana being Wonder Woman, I think Trinity is the same way. So they could use it.
Mm,
So in the future sense,
mm.
right? If they say, "Oh, we want to use Trinity," right? They say, "Well, she's a new character. She's within the confab, and because oh God, because of Tom King owns the right, he theoretically could say, well, yeah, so she is her own character and she has her own name, which is Trinity." That's why I noticed. You
Yeah,
know
with
what the
Tom
difference is?
King, he's
And
an
here's
employee of DC, so it's not a contract thing. So they do own the full rights to Trinity.
And that's why I said this before. The funny thing is, she wasn't called Wonder Woman. She was just called Trinity.
Yeah,
When you thought
which is
about that
still a
way,
dumb name. Like of all
because
the names to call her, why? Why? Because
I
also, what are
think
you
the
gonna
reason
do?
why they
Like,
call it,
oh yeah, we're gonna have the new Trinity with Trinity in.
did like it would be so cool. It would be easier if she got her name like as Troya because she was inspired by her own aunt,
Mhm.
which is Donna.
Mhm.
But I think that's why they named. That's why they gave her the superhero name Trinity, just because of the fact that they didn't want to have to deal with the licensings of Wonder Woman. So that's why
Mhm.
Trinity is pushed such a way that they don't have to deal with all the hoopla and everything. And that's why I say like
Um.
there's a reason why they said yes to Diana having a child, because they could make a new character who is Wonder Woman adjacent enough,
Mhm.
but that's why they put Damien and John there, so she wasn't too much in her like in the world Wonder Woman. So when they do use her in any future project, they say, well, actually, her real superhero name is Trinity. She's not the new Wonder Woman because her name is Trinity. That's her new superhero name. Yes, she's the daughter of Wonder Woman,
Mhm.
but she's her own character, and she was created by Tom King, by who obligation because he's an employee. We own the full rights of this character and make a show, whatever.
Mhm.
So
I'll be
theoretically,
damned if
Data's
we get a
final.
Trinity show before we get a Wonder Woman show, man. That'd be so sad.
So
We're
as
gonna get a Trinity game before we get a Wonder Woman game.
So essentially, and I'm gonna make a video of this. I don't know, like, cause I know you're also gonna make a video because I also want to hear your thoughts about it. But essentially, like, what I'm just basically saying, and I think people need to hear it. Essentially, I would say this whoever anyone watching. Essentially, DC figure out a biggest loophole to use against use to have Wonder Woman still.
Mhm.
So essentially, they
And for
just have.
okay, for those of you who like need the TLDR of like why Wonder Woman hasn't had like an animated show or anything like that. The real reason is because after the 1970s show with Linda Carter, the Marston family didn't like that Wonder Woman was basically just a TV show character. So then they started to make a restriction on where Wonder Woman could be used. So they weren't even going to allow her to be in Justice League. Initially, they were having troubles because they obviously wanted to do a Justice League show, but they didn't. Obviously, they wanted Wonder Woman, but the Marston family was like, "No, we don't want her to be in a TV show. We don't want her to have a TV show. We don't want her to be a side character." But the way that Bruce Timm and all of them were able to convince them to use Wonder Woman was basically they agreed that if they use Wonder Woman, she will be an important character in every episode that she's in. So you'll notice that there's some times where Wonder Woman is just suddenly gone, like she's not there. It's because they can't use her even as a cameo. So in every episode of Justice League that she's in, she has like this big role. She's like this big character. So and then also that also played into the fact where they were hoping that by the time Justice League was like wrapping up, that they would be able to kind of convince them, okay, let's use this character more. But they didn't. They doubled down, and that's why Big Barda is in Batman Beyond, because Big Barda was used as a substitute for Wonder Woman, and that is also the main reason why we don't have a Wonder Woman the animated series, because they definitely wanted to make one, but they weren't able to get the permission from the Marston family to do so.
Which why Donna took longer than anything else to be
Mm-hmm.
used in certain adaptation. Like you said, because she was supposed to be in Young Justice, but because they the whole rights issue with that, it took her longer, which why we finally got her in Titans, and why in the Judas contract she was in the end of it because they finally let that go up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
why every I think that's why ever since then they were trying to find other Wonder Woman related characters to make one of them the main character so they could use them as main projects. But the problem
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of them are connected to Wonder Woman overly. Like even if you would have Cass replace Wonder Woman, is the name, is the licensing of the name. That's
Mm-hmm.
why Cass can be used. Is that Cass had to be called Cassie Sasmark. She can't be called Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl, because even then she stuck with that name, and of course stuck with the whole contract algorithm. Even though she's created by John Bird in general, which
Yeah, and
has
there was
always been
also the
great to
move
me.
because like I know you know this, but there was also the move because that's why because Donna Troy is not actually made by the Marston family. She has no connection to the Marston family at all. But the problem was that it was the Wonder Girl name that was attached to them. So it's like you can tell that DC tried to do a loophole because obviously for those of you who don't know, Donna Troy is supposed to be basically the identical twin of Wonder Woman. I mean, there's a point where she is basically the mirror twin, where they are literally identical twins, and they tried to do this. And I think the Marston family was like the Wonder Girl name is so close to Wonder Woman that we still have that right to use her as like we would still have to be paid essentially in order to do that. And then, so like, I think that's also why Donna Troy is more known as Donna Troy than Wonder Girl as well, and also why she eventually took Troya and the Dark Star thing. It's like they really tried to make Donna work, but I think because she's so connected to Wonder Woman in the story, like obviously as an identical twin, you're gonna be like they still couldn't find a way to use Donna Troy as, and unfortunately, I think that's also why Donna Troy started being less used because the whole point of Donna Troy was that she was going to be the successor of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she was supposed to be Wonder Woman legacy character. That's why when we got the 1 year later story, she was the new Wonder Woman. It's why we noticed that when we think about it, everything that one Donna design as Wonder Woman was completely different, more different than the original
Mhm.
traditional outfit. And I think they probably did that because they were trying to make sure that A, they could have been Sue, B, they could use her because she has a much different outfit, and C, she's well Donna Troy, so she's a much different character. And I think they didn't really I think they were not realize like the name Wonder Woman was still with the Marston family. It's the same with Yara Floyd. Yara Floyd was supposed to have a show. She was supposed to be promoted even more, but because the same reason they were trying to call her Wonder Woman, the name Wonder Woman keeps being like, oh no, we own that right of the name. You can't use that. You're trying to be sneaky again. So now, with the help of God, Tom King, that man, he tries to sneak his way by using the daughter of Wonder Woman, which is Trinity. Hence why her name is Trinity, because then when they were gonna do was is basically make her more different than Diana because they put her with John and
Mhm.
Damien, so they don't be like, oh, they're the same, all this and that. I'm like, no, okay, yeah, she's the
Mhm.
daughter of Wonder Woman, but she has her own superhero name. And DC said, well, we own the rights to Trinity. They don't. They don't own the rights with Trinity. And Tom
Yeah.
King's do, but Tom King's a employee there, so they DC completely own the rights. And of course, the name Trinity.
Mhm.
So we could do what we want to do. So if we want to make her, have her own show, we could after her own show. And theoretically, they could say, oh, we could soon make Diana
Mhm.
more important because, of course, she's her mother, so she would be
Yeah.
more present into the show, particularly.
Yeah.
So they eventually, and this essentially what I'm saying is with the introduction with Trinity, they essentially find a way to go around the legal troubles with that until that
Yeah.
Wonder Woman becomes a public domain.
Yeah. Because also you have to kind of look at it through DC's perspective. It's like, how do you make a Wonder Woman character without using the name of Wonder Woman or anything like that, while still making it relevant enough to where fans will like it, and then also have it be so disconnected to Diana that you don't have to use her essentially? Because also it's like right now, yes, Wonder Woman is actually the trademark is owned by DC. That's been done. The problem is there's still copyright law, which still allows the Marston family to be pains in the butt about using Wonder Woman. Because even though they own the trademark of Wonder Woman, they don't own the full rights to use her in everything in every scenario that they want to.
Hence why also too they also probably own Cessation Comics. That's why even if
Mm-hmm.
they call it Cessation Comic, like they say, oh, Cessation Comic feature Wonder Woman or Cessational Wonder Woman or Warmer Agent of Peace, because I think they took the Cessational and kept
Mm-hmm.
them to themselves, which is so dumb because then they limit Wonder Woman of any other more comic that she could use,
Mm-hmm.
particularly because if have not they would not done that, her Superman and Batman both have all their secondary comics, and we would have secondary writers too.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Diana, Wonder Woman is about to go into public domain. And I think that's also why we're not hearing a lot of these like projects being announced surrounding Wonder Woman, because they're waiting for it to go into public domain, so then they have the full rights to use her. They can announce all the shows and the stuff, because if they announce it right now, it's not in public domain. It is still that copyright issue. If they announce it after Wonder Woman gets like, into the public domain, that's where we're gonna see it. I also kind of speculate. I mean, I know the Wonder Woman game has kind of been in production hell anyways, but I also think that's also why it kind of got shut down, because they ran out of money and they were trying to keep this game going until it went into public domain. And I think we'll likely see the Wonder Woman game pop up again. Maybe this is just me wishful thinking, but I think it will be
Yeah.
once it goes into public domain. I think they will give the rights to use the Wonder Woman game to another studio, probably like Xbox Game Studios or something like that, and then they'll finish out the Wonder Woman game and then make it there, because the project itself is not over. It's more so that the studio that is behind the Wonder Woman game shut down. So that's the difference. Is that because the Wonder Woman studio shut down, because Monolith had to shut down, they weren't able to continue making the Wonder Woman game. It is not that Warner Brothers wants to stop making a Wonder Woman game. It's that the studio that was making it got shut down. So I think we wishful thinking, but I think it will come back. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I, I think that's the one of the things that I'm frustrated about because I'm like, I don't know. Is it the public domain that opened? It's gonna be like is it 2030 something or early, or is it later than, or is it earlier than that? Because I think Superman is supposed to be a domain in 2026 or something. I forgot how that works because I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
I don't think it's this year because I'm not entirely sure. But
I'm
yeah, Phantasm. I don't think it's this year that it goes in the public domain. It's more so within this decade.
Yeah, because I think it's always 100 years after the person passed. That's why I think because like that's what happened with H.P. Lovecraft. But I think it's also because H.P. Lovecraft's family probably just like, no, we don't want to get
But
tied with him no
I
more.
think one of two things will happen. Either they wait for it to go to public domain and then they start using it, or they manage to seal a deal with the Marston family and just get the full rights to Wonder Woman. Unfortunately, they're probably going to be greedy bitches and they're going to wait it out for public domain.
I think if they're yeah, if they were really smart, they would say, "Hey, we need to really sit down and have a conversation. We are willing to pay a lot of full money in advance to buy the rights of this character,
Yeah.
particularly."
Especially
And
because I
if
think you could
I,
argue like the Wonder Woman 2017 movie almost made $1 billion in the box office. They could be like, here's that profit margin. Just give us the freaking rights, man.
yes. Oh, and I think that, so. Someone I tweeted on this on Twitter. Someone's like, but they're like, yeah, but I think DC need to like push more effort. I'm telling you why they don't. They can't really do that. I really do think. Oh God, and this is I'm sorry, but sometimes Twitter fans are so brain rotted that it's not even funny to me no more. Because you're essentially saying like, "Oh, I wish they could do more." DC is trying to do more. Is that again?
Wait,
We're talking about this
I think I just realized. I think that's why they're doing Paradise Lost instead of like starting out with a Wonder
one.
Woman project. Because if they use Paradise Lost, it has nothing to do with Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman isn't going to even be in the show. So it's like it's not really Wonder Woman, and all the things that they're going to adapt are from George Perez and Kelly Sue. So it's not even like Wonder Woman. I think that's actually. Oh, I just realized that. That actually makes a lot of sense because
Sense,
then
sense.
that will please the fans enough to where then they can wait for Wonder Woman to go into public domain and then launch like basically everything that they've been holding on to, which is Wonder Woman the animated series, Wonder Woman the video game, and everything else Wonder Woman. We just have to wait till
It's
like
also
2030.
It's also weird because they let the one because that's the weird thing I will say because they're not like we won't get a movie because we did got a movie in the
Yeah.
2017, so it's not like they would never give us a movie because I think like the Morrison family like, yeah, we could give you a
And
movie
Marston
because
Perry likes
they're
movies.
yeah, it's the reason why it's the reason why Wonder Woman has a lot of two animated movies particularly, and they did pretty well too in the animated
Mhm.
movie department. And
Yeah,
that's why I say like,
it shows that the Marston family doesn't like.
yeah, and I think this is why I think DC needs to start. I don't understand this. I don't understand why, but DC could just give Wonder Woman more animation movie. It's not like she has not material that they cannot use again use for if they're like, hey, we want to do this movie. I thought you'd be okay with it. They probably say, yeah. I think what goes around with them that people are like, oh, we want shows. I mean, hey, they can't do show, but we could do movies. If we could do anime movie, you could get like Wonder Woman Earth, Dead Earth. You could get a Wonder Woman Historia movie. You could get a lot of Wonder Woman movies in adjacent. They did
Yeah.
that with Superman too, because Superman. It took a while for Superman to come back, but they did it with
Mhm.
animation movies and stuff, particularly.
Yeah. I 100% we're gonna get a year of Wonder Woman. I think it's somebody Google whenever Wonder Woman goes into public domain because there's gonna be an explosion. There's gonna be like it goes into public domain and there's just gonna be an explosion of announcements relating to Wonder Woman. It's like we're getting an animated show, we're getting a movie, we're getting a show, we're getting.
Oh yeah, because essentially too, I thought about it because once she goes to public domain, they can reclaim back Sensation Comics too. Because that means they would have the rights of Sensation, the rights of her logo.
And we can
they
get
have
Tom
rights
King
of
away
everything.
from Wonder Woman because it'll be Sensation
Yes.
Comics and it'll be a new comic book writer. It's
Yeah.
2037? Oh my god, that's a long time.
2037. Whoa. That I'd be 40. I'd be 40. I'd be 40.
37.
2037. I'd be 38 years old when that. Why is that long? Why is it that long?
It's like something as it has to be like so it's after the original creator dies and then it's like I think plus like 50 or something like that.
Okay, so this is my question. I mean, I said I know you laughed about this, but I need one of the Morrison children because it's four of them. I need one of who's the strictest to. I don't wish no ill will. I wish none. But what I could say, and what I will say, I one of the one of the more people, one of the folks in the Morrison State, one of you guys need to kick the bucket. I'm waiting for a release. Like I'm not trying to. I'm trying not to rush. I'm not really trying to rush y'all, but like.
But yeah, literally, we're either waiting for them to go into public domain, or for one of them to finalize a deal with WB, or for there to be some tragic accident that ends up speeding that along.
I mean, whoever's the dominant, whoever's the oldest child, I need you to kick it quickly. I need y'all to quick because you're not that young. Trust me, because I know what year you were. Some of y'all were born. You were born right after the end. You're earlier born. You need to go. It's crazy. Wait, Raph, I'm sorry. I can't really like. I'm sorry, you can't join. Not just because I'm not like we're doing co-hosted, so it's kind of very much different.
Mm-hmm.
But they got one of y'all to need to kick the bucket
honestly,
because
what will likely happen, especially if Superman makes over $1 billion, I think they're just gonna use that money to buy out Wonder Woman. Maybe that's like wishful thinking. They're just gonna.
Yeah, I mean, like DC. Like, here's the thing. I'm like DC. If I was DC, say, hey, Marston family, we don't want to wait that long because we need to use Wonder Woman within 10 years. I need y'all. We're gonna buy you out. You're gonna take the money.
Mm.
You're going to take that money and you're going to give us Wonder Woman the rights.
Unfortunately, I feel like they're gonna say, but but the amount of money you pay us will probably be more than what Wonder Woman makes in that span of a year. It's like, bitch, I don't make any money because I'm not gonna do anything with her until it goes public domain.
I really realistically, this is me realistically. I'm like. This is me. I'd be like, if I was a fan, I'm sorry to say, like, hey, Marston, I love that your father has created one of the pretty much the greatest female superhero of all time, and I respect that. We are all Wonder Woman fan, but y'all need to let it go. Let it go. Like,
also,
give us
for those of you who are wondering, for those of you who are wondering why we've seen so much fucking Batman, it's because of the whole drama situation with Bob Kane and Bill Finger to begin with. So neither of them fully own the licensing or ownership of Batman, and Warner Brothers or DC Comics in general actually owns the full usage and the ability to use Batman. That's why we've had so much fucking Batman, is because he's the only one of the Trinity to not have legal issues. Because they settled it like 1938 or whatever it was. It's like,
Yes.
also because Batman sells, and also because well, WB itself has been strict on Batman. There has been, but when they say there's been no issue with Batman, it's true. The only issue that Batman has had is that bat embargo, which has nothing to do with the owners or anything. It has nothing to do with Bob Kane or Bill Finger. It has to do with how Warner Brothers allows them to use Batman, which is no TV show, like no two Batmans, like whatever the fuck the rules they have.
There's a reason why Superman was kind of limited. Like, even though Superman got a TV show more once, you ever notice? Like, I always tell folks, you ever notice that Superman's shows always come every between, especially live action shows, they come every 10 years or every
Mm-hmm.
20 years because the weird rule. That's why he's also restricted too.
Mm-hmm.
We're just I
Yeah.
don't. I think now the family are getting more linear with it. And you know what it is? I think if I was DC, if I was smarter than DC needs to take James Gunn because whatever James Gunn is doing with them, he's actually helping the family. They need James Gunn to sit in front of the Marston
Mm-hmm.
family and say, "Hi, I'm James Gunn," because James Gunn has charisma. And if they could get James Gunn to be right
Yeah.
in front of them and talk to them and stuff, and they say, "Hey, can we do this? We need to really and do in a way that he said,
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, in my best of my ability, with everything, I will make sure Wonder Woman is so integral. I even make sure, he said in a great example, I made sure that New 52 wasn't even a thing because I made a parody of the Sons
Yeah.
of Themyscira, particularly. And, that could be a thing where they feel like, okay, we're going to give you the rights of it so you can do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because James Gunn is one of those people that even the family likes him. And he
Yeah.
put his effort to actually connect with them.
Yeah. And then, for those of you who are confused about the Schuster family, basically, I mean, just look at what they're trying to do now with Superman. They failed, but they like like as soon as like Superman was announced to be released, they were like, hey. We you can't distribute it in like Canada, whatever the fuck countries they listed, because like
Yeah.
technically they think they only gave the licensing to Warner Brothers to use to distribute in the U.S. That's the thing that they think is happening, and Warner Brothers is like no.
Yeah. And I think that I think I'm sorry to say this, but I do think it's super money hungry, particularly too at this point
Mhm.
where the Susher family and the Morrison family, it's to the point it's like you guys are doing it for money because ain't no way in the world you're keeping these characters this long and limited them.
Mhm.
If they were really smart, they know that giving them shows you get more money back,
Mhm.
especially with merchandising too. You know how much merchandise you could get with a Wonder Woman show with cartoon,
Yeah.
Barbie
And
dolls,
yes, the
action
portion
figures,
they
everything.
get is a little bit unfair, but you also have to consider if a project does so well and it makes like $1 billion and you get even 1% of that, do you know what 1% of $1 billion is? Certainly more than I make. So it's like, are they getting a shit deal? Yeah, but they're also getting multi millions out of it.
I think that's the problem is, and they really like Batman fans are really lucky that they didn't know which the whole creator right for Batman. Otherwise, Batman would be stuck in that same boat with us too. The only thing they
Mhm.
only screw in is the TV show, but even that they found loopholes with
You
that
guys are
one.
freaking lucky. You Batman fans are freaking lucky because of the fact there was so much controversy between Bob Kane and Bill Finger that DC was like, you know what? We'll credit you both, and we own it. That's basically what happened.
Yo,
That's what they did. They're
I
like,
feel
there was
like
so much like drama in the studio. They were like, okay, we will credit both of you, and then we will own the Batman. That's what
yeah.
happened.
It's the same reason why, like, now they were, like I said before in my Vixen video, I think they were trying to do was to push Vixen, Flash, and Green Lantern as like the Trinity because they were created within
Mm-hmm.
DC, the company themselves, and so they were easier to reuse again, especially with Barry and Wally, because Barry and Wally was within DC, and because they were within DC, they were able to use the rights for a lot of them. The same goes for Vixen. Vixen was created in DC Present, so she was definitely created within DC in a way where they could use her too. Also, she was in Action Comics, so again, she could be used. The same goes for Green Arrow too. So again, a lot of these characters like Vixen that were kind of really set up as the CW Trinity because Vixen was given an animation series. She was pushing live action stuff. The only thing they didn't commit to the bid was they didn't give her a live action show, which I feel like they should have done in general, just because it would have
Mm-hmm.
made more naturally sense for her to have her own
Yeah.
live action show because she's already very popular. She's a woman of color character. I think she was like, and and DC fans like her in general too. She's already
Mm-hmm.
popular enough that even Wonder Woman fans cannot really complain because she's already like well liked. And it's
Yeah.
like again, I think the biggest was the three that could be potentially much bigger than the Trinity too. When you think about it, people like Green Arrow more than Batman because Batman's biggest problem in the comics is stagnation, which he's stuck in his ways because writers will always like keep him in the same perpetual state.
Mm-hmm.
They say it goes for Superman. Superman is great in comic, but the hard part is his cells too, and where Flash sells really well. And also, you have to deal with weird general audience that have a weird perception of Superman. They don't have that problem with the Flash. And Vixen is already popular enough. The long and also alongside with Zatanna too. I think Vixen and Zatanna are the same boat, where they're both magical women characters that fans they have a strong fan base and already a strong general audience because they're very bad like they're badass women characters that realistically in their mind people like you can replace one of them with Wonder Woman particularly, but
Mm-hmm.
of course the controversy that DC don't want backlash for like you try to make Vixen and Zatanna more popular than Wonder Woman, or the Marston family get mad at that, or you try to make Flash popular than either Batman or Superman, or the same vice versa with Green Lantern. So they don't want to piss off the
Yeah.
fandom and then anything else.
It's like that's why like the Trinity has been kind of like the DC's own downfall. It's because Marvel doesn't have this issue because they don't really have a Trinity, and even then okay. So for those of you confused as to why Marvel is different from DC, Marvel when it made itself, it was already a company, and then they made the characters. DC wasn't fully a company, at least a studio, until like decades after a lot of these characters were created. So what happened is that DC came together and they made their studio, but then they had to kind of buy the licenses for the characters that they were using because a lot of the way it worked back then is that the creators had the control over it. So that's where you had the Marston family, the Schuster family, the Kane family, and then all of that in between. So that is why DC is different from Marvel. Is because DC wasn't a full company until decades after a lot of their biggest characters were created. After DC was made, after DC became a studio and became an official company, that's where they don't have the problems with. That's where they don't have any issues using those characters because they do own, because they were employees of the company. It's like when you make a character within a company, you don't own the rights, the company does because it's the company's character. It's like if like for like Walt Disney, like you can be a creator who creates Elsa, but Disney still owns Elsa because it's a Disney character. That was not the case with DC Comics, and that's why there's so many issues with the original main characters. And the problem with DC fans is that they're such traditionalists that they've kind of shot themselves in the foot because they know that if they try to push anyone but the Trinity, people will get mad. But then the Trinity is their biggest issue because they can't use the Trinity in all of its stuff because you have the Marston family being pains in the butt, you have the Schuster family trying to milk the money out of Superman, and then you have the Bob Kane situation where he's being credited for a character that he didn't create.
And which why it creates this endless cycle of they want to make certain characters really popular, but then in the fear of getting backlash, they don't want to have that smoke. That's why people are like, oh, Wonder Flash is more popular than Wonder Woman. No, he's equally as popular than Wonder Woman. The difference is that they are able to use him more because, of course, Flash is one of those characters that they could use more because he's first of all, he was created inside DC, and even if it wasn't for him and Barry Allen was created in DC, and Wally was created in DC too. And I guess whoever created the Flash, they have the licenses for the Flash too, so they have full control. Vixen was also created within DC itself too, because she first appeared in Action Comics. So again, she doesn't have that problem, and she's her own superhero too. Goes with Green Arrow too. Most of these characters, there's a reason why I always say that Justice JLA Year One was always better without the Trinity. It's because you didn't need the Trinity within the Justice League because the Justice League could also stand on their own without the Trinity, particularly. And I think it's like and here's the thing, as a Wonder Woman fan, and Ruby as a Wonder Woman fan, we love Wonder Woman, and we also love the Trinity themselves too. But they're the weak. They're the weak point because they're weak. They're very weak point because they won't either give them either weird bad writers, stagnation, and then of course different licensing problems, and then of course one character have more over the other. We look at you, Batman, but it's that problem where it's like what can we do? Because DC fans can be such a traditionalist, like you said. It get them on their it bite them in their butt, and then it gets to this problem where we won't let other characters who, by the way, it realistically said in terms of modernization are more growing characters that in the modernization they're very popular for their own right. Vixen, for example, is very popular. She's a supermodel. She's a black woman character. She's also very feminist herself, given the fact that she's all about helping people and very much a community. Green Arrow too is very popular because he's a extreme leftist. He fight against criminals. He's also fight against the rich. He has a stronger theme, and he's very like a relatable sense in that aspect. The Flash too. He's about his community. He's with his family, and all three characters are allowed to grow. It's the same with Black Lightning. It's the same with the Birds of Prey. But like, it's the problem is that they always put them in stagnation. Like Barbara Gordon should have remained Oracle, but what happened is that they want to retell like, oh, she's Batgirl, she's part of the Bat family, and I'm like, no, she's separated enough to the point that she has her own team. She doesn't need to be stuck with the Bat family all the time.
Yeah. And a cartoon, yeah, we do have two different comment sections because we're technically both live. We're doing this co-hosting thing. It's a little
We do a
different.
co-hosted. Well, we did. Well, we have a reason why we did the co-hosted thing, particularly because we were trying to like go with the flow with the conversation, and we had so much thoughts. We were trying to bounce ideas too. So this is the perfect chance we could
This
do
is the
it.
start of our podcast. If anybody has podcast name suggestions, feel free to leave them
God Lord,
through the
I,
Wonder
yeah, we were trying to figure out logins because I think this like the live is better, like especially with co-hosts, especially like we're gonna still do general live in general because we're gonna still do that once
Yeah.
like that. But I think we wanted to do it in a sense because both of us are like both big fans of Wonder Woman, but also big fans of other women character. But also we have a lot of like in
Things
terms
to
of a
say.
lot of things we yeah things to say it, and I think we bounce each other's heads so well. The Wonder Year podcast. Okay,
The
that's actually
Wonder
good. Hopefully, the Wonder Years podcast. But I think there's so much variable that is a problem with 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 I think it's just I feel like Wonder Woman is that character where she has the potential to be popular because we see what absolute Wonder Woman realistically by the sales and everything and how people talk about it. But the problem is, it's like if I'll be honest, I love Absolute Wonder Woman more than the main line at this point particularly currently now, because they actually it's writers who actually put more care to Wonder Woman until that man gets
Mhm.
out. But until Tom King's get rid of like Tom King, when I see you, it's on site.
I mean, I guess technically we could also technically. I don't know if it will work, but we could try it where one of us goes live and it's just us two and talking. But I don't know.
No, but
We're trying different things.
but I think the co-host is better because also we have our green screen. It's much
Yeah,
better,
we both
and
have control over our own lives as well.
yeah, in particular, and then we don't have to worry about a lot of like the thing because like a lot of people can really, unless we really want the folks to join, but we really don't have to anyway. So that's the good thing about co-hosting, and I think it's
Mhm.
also like again, it's just the two of us technically.
Yeah.
So like yeah,
What's your
what?
definite Wonder Woman story? As in, this is Wonder Woman and this is who she should be. That I mean, I actually really do like the Phil Jimenez run, especially going back and realizing like that's where like we had that very iconic moment. Unfortunately, after September 11th, but it's like it really drew in the idea that Wonder Woman is much more of an emotional character than a warrior. I think a lot of people who look at Wonder Woman from the outside mistake that. Unfortunately, it's also kind of something that's been pushed a lot recently, especially with the Gal Gadot stuff. But it's like Wonder Woman more so is an empathetic character than anything else. I definitely think Gail Simone understands that as well, and Greg Rucka does as well.
Yeah,
They are more so incorporating a little bit more of the warrior aspects too, but it's like also the empathetic side as well.
they add two different. They add also like besides the warrior part, they consistently add the mythology part too, particularly. But and like and also add one more thing. Greg Rucka in general, he adds more of the ambassadorship with Wonder Woman, where Gail Simone will do more of the romantic stuff. That's why, like, when Nemesis, I know people don't like Tom, but I secretly never really disliked Tom because I think Tom was like, I feel like because also for those who don't know, Tom was actually Diana's like
Oh, you mean
second
Nemesis?
serious sport
For a second there, I
nemesis.
was like, "Are you talking about Tom King?" I got confused for a second there.
No, okay. I put this. I will put this.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were talking about Nemesis first. I forgot his
Okay,
name was
so
Tom.
so Nemesis' real name is Thomas, but Diana calls him Tom. But okay, but Nemesis. Okay, so Nemesis was the secondary love interest for Wonder Woman after the unaliving of the death of Trevor Barnes. Um,
Mm,
and Nemesis by, by all means, I don't think Nemesis was a bad character. I think Nemesis also, mind you, he was created before Gail Simone came into the run. Now, mind you,
mm,
before Gail, so she had to do what she worked with, and also, of course, she had to break them up. But I will say he was a great love interest in the sense that
yeah,
I think he kind of let Diana grow in such a way, and I think has it Gail Simone had more chance with them and did it broke them up, I think she would have done so much of the slow birth thing, very much slower birth
yeah,
instead of rushing their relationship in.
yeah.
Because this was kind
I
of like
really
the
like,
final,
yeah,
the
I really like them.
yeah, and I think that's why Nemesis is also he's kind of better than Steve in such a way, like because he's more active too. Like Guy is really active, and I think what him and Steve are different for personality is that Nemesis really won't sit there and let Diana fight alone. He really is like, no, I'm going into this fight. I will be fighting for Wonder Woman. I will fight along your side. Also, can we bring back the Gorilla Knights? Actually, they were kind of a cool part with Wonder Woman lore. They were cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think Steve Trevor will always be important to Wonder Woman. I don't think you should
Woman,
go into
yeah.
the DCU without Steve Trevor because that would be a mistake.
Trevor.
I think what you
Mm-hmm.
do is you make them date at first, and then you kind of have them kind of split ways, especially as Steve gets older and kind of doesn't have the same interests as Wonder Woman. Because I definitely think at the end of the day, I would want to see Etta and Steve become like the official thing and then have like Diana find herself. I also know that Edda's kind of been lesbian as well, so I'm not entirely
Yeah,
sure. I don't know. Things are a little bit complicated in the Wonder Woman continuity. But
yeah, because Etta is like queer. She's queer and black, which I really love. I think
Mhm.
what they could do is find somebody else to be a love interest for Steve, and I don't think that's hard to do realistically. With that,
Mhm.
you always could get somebody else.
Yeah.
Um, I think also, um, I think it also the different. Okay, the reason why we keep bringing up Gail Simone is that Gail Simone loved Wonder Woman. Like she's one, her and Greg Rucka and even Phil Jimenez love Wonder Woman, but Gelsamo would tell herself how much she really loved Wonder Woman, how much she really wants to write a Wonder Woman show, how much she said, I want to be on the show if we get a Wonder Woman anime show, I want to be a part of it. Because she loves Wonder Woman. And fun fact that nobody knows, this is why it makes the council game so upsetting. She was one of the consultants, if not the consultant on the game, which made it really upsetting.
Yeah. Which I also I recently found out that she's actually the writer behind Double Date, which is one of my favorite episodes in Justice League Unlimited, which makes sense actually when you think about it because it's with the Huntress and Black Canary. So it's basically a mini Birds of Prey episode. So it's like it's just kind of funny. Like when I was reading the credits, like wait, is that Gail Simone? Oh, no wonder I like this episode so much. It's like she is really a woman of many talents.
I think for DC, like they have to realize Gail Simone was the pioneer when it comes to half of the women characters we got, especially Birds of Prey, because after God, Chuck Dixon, oh, because Chuck Dixon is the creator of Birds of Prey, but I would say Gail Simone is she elevated and created it and redefined the
Especially
Birds
when
of
you
Prey
have Chuck
because of her run.
Dixon bitching about the art of between Barbara and uh, Dinah because of them being looking too gay.
Oh, you mean when they were holding like all intimate and stuff? Like, come
I
on
also
now.
whoever that artist was, I love you for that man because he made it gay anyways.
I think that's why Birds of Prey got so much better because it was actually women writing, and I
Mm.
think where and she been consistently writing them since even with New 52. And this is why I looked at this is why I think DC don't like to hear it with the modernization of Wonder Woman and why Kelly Thompson's successful, it's because people realize like, oh yeah, when a woman is writing Wonder Woman, they actually understand. And people bring up like, well, Rebirth, Becky Cloonan run wasn't good. Yeah, because social media wasn't that super big back then. By the time also, there are a lot of not say a lot of there aren't a lot of Wonder Woman fans, but at that time there weren't a lot of us online particularly. And when we did started it, some of it was really late to it particularly. But now, because of Twitter and because of everything, we're able to push something like even Absolute Wonder Woman into the big, into the picture and stuff.
Yeah, Chuck Dixon is a weird dude. There's a lot of weird dudes in the comic industry, unfortunately. Even currently writing, they're not all out of DC or Marvel.
God, and now
Like
we're
skipping a
plagued
spot.
after this arc is finished for Wonder Woman 19, we're literally stuck with a yet again for somehow the man brought back Batman into Wonder Woman. He definitely about to try to give us Wonder Bat content. I'm like, no, why would you do this? For
Jay,
issue 20,
Jay's asking, what's your feelings about New 52 Wonder Woman? I've been planning on reading it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't read it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay,
no.
the only good aspect out of New 52 is the fact that we get Cassie Sandsmark. That is it. All of it, everything else can go into the incinerator and never see the light of day again.
I feel like if you read New 52, you say, "Oh, I really like New 52," or Wonder Earth 1. I'm like, "Oh, so yeah,
It's a red flag. It's
we're
a giant
flagged
red
with
flag.
red flag.
Like, I mean,
We're mortal enemies."
there's a reason why we're so glad that the Sons of Themyscira are a joke in the DCU because like there's a long list of bad things about New 52. I mean, first of all, we have the change from the clay origin, which was originally meant to be like is a very pro mother storyline. Because for those of you who don't know, Hippolyta isn't able to actually be pregnant. She's struggled with having children. She's always wanted a daughter, but she was never able to have a daughter. So the goddesses blessed her basically with Diana, and she was able to sculpt Diana from clay. And it's really about how women kind of struggle with motherhood sometimes. Like there's many women around the world that can't have children and want to have a children. So that is where the clay origin stems from. And then when New 52 happened, they're like, let's undo this. Let's add freaking Zeus as the father, which is
Yeah.
several problems with that because of all the people to make Diana's father, you choose the womanizer, freaking most controversial god to be her father, all because you want her to have cool lightning powers, and then you make her brother Jason of the Argonauts, which then adds another issue. It's just a whole mess. It's bad.
It's it's also it's also with they took Cass like father to Diana, because if nobody know, because Cassie Sansmark, her dad is Zeus, and they replace Zeus to another father.
Also, it's New 52's fault that everybody thinks that Wonder Woman would just off all of the DC villains because she wouldn't. There's many evidence. There's so much evidence that she would not do it. We even have a moment in Gail Simone's comic book run, which has her like in that comic book run, Diana is most justified to off one of her villains, and I can't really say the villain's name because they made it a name that is not able to be said on TikTok, but y'all know who I'm talking about probably. And the moment is that Diana at first, she lets that character fall into the ocean, and she's like, I'm just gonna, for a moment she thinks about it. For a moment she thinks about it, but then she says, I'm not that person. And thank Hera that I'm not that person. And she goes to save her. Now, that character isn't in the ocean when she goes to save her, but it's also like you would have this moment where Diana thinks about it and then doesn't, because that is who Diana is. She thinks about it. She has considered it so many times, and she thinks that she regrets not doing so, and then she's shown exactly why she doesn't. And this is also off the brink of her previously, doing what she did to Maxwell Lord, which again, now I know some people are gonna ask, okay, but what do I feel about what she did with Maxwell Lord? Maxwell Lord is a very different situation. Maxwell Lord, Wonder Woman is the only one in the room who can do it, and Maxwell Lord is saying, if you don't do it, everyone else is going to die. So it's like, in that moment, that was a real trolley test, and Diana was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this because I know I'm the only person in this room who will do it, because the other two have very strict no-kill rules. So Diana was the only person who was able to do it, and did it because she knew that that was the only way that she would be able to save her friends. JT, I can't hear you.
Sorry, oh my god, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna piggyback what Ruby says. Ruby says a little bit with that, because that was during Wonder Woman Volume 2 issue. I think, yeah, 219, because 218 is when we kind of have that prelude, because it was around where Maximum Lord mind controls Superman realistically, and mind you, he made Clark to think that Diana was Doomsday, who was unaliving Lois Lane particularly, and mind you, this is a berserk Superman who was going full out on Diana, punch her all the way to the sun and back, and she had to do everything in her power to like neutralize him. Even had to use her tiara to slice his throat. And again, the reason why, the reason why is like the reason why she was like, and mind you, she tried to do everything in her power to actually to undo the mind control and find a better way. And even Maxwell Lord said, "Wait, you're really good because you're really good persuading me out of the conversation real quickly." And he said, "I
Mm-hmm.
won't let you," because he knew for a fact letting Diana talk too long, she would have negotiated him out of his decision for doing it. But
Mm-hmm.
he said no. He literally said, "No, Superman's mine. Even if you would have knocked me out, how long do you think I will mind control him again? I will do
Mm-hmm.
it again, and I will make him." He said,
Yeah.
"Even if it wasn't you, I'll make him unalive Lois. I'll make him
Yeah.
unalive Bruce." And of
Yeah.
course, Diana said, she did it because Diana could do it. Diana is one of the characters who understand the value of life and understand there are things that are worth saving more than one life. So she did the whole sacrifice the one to save the many, and she's one of those people who are willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Her, Green Arrow, Booster Gold, mostly every of the superhero would do it,
Mm-hmm.
except for Batman and Superman.
Yeah. And then also, it's like you also have to consider that in that panel that everybody shows, Maxwell Lord is bound by the lasso of truth. So it's not like she didn't try to do literally anything to not do what she knew what she had to do next.
And mind you, and the funny thing is, people were like judging Wonder Woman. I'm like, wait, and this is mind you, this is the era where we had identity crisis, right? So people try to judge Diana for on a life of Max Malore, but don't really talk about how much Booster Gold is extremely mad at Bruce because he created Brother Eye, and of course, with the whole incident with Brother Eye, he's the reason why Ted Cord, which is Booster Gold's friend, got unalive. So he always blamed him, but never actually, he was never mad at Diana. He actually appreciated what Diana did because he's like, "You did the right thing. I'm not going to blame you for that. You did the right thing. You were never in the wrong."
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, that whole arc was because of Bruce. It was actually Bruce's fault. You
Mm-hmm.
will soon learn to find out that Bruce is kind of 9% of the problem with the Justice League and certain the biggest problem they've been dealing with.
Yeah, I think also because like in that moment, yes, if Diana hadn't, Superman would have. But the thing is, well, first he was mind controlled, so you couldn't really do that. But also, it's like I think that's precisely why Wonder Woman did do it because she knew that if anyone's gonna take the fall, it should be her because like Superman is a hero for like the children and everything, and she also knows that Superman deeply cares about not doing that because there's only certain situations where he has done it. In each of those situations, he's always been remorseful of doing so, anyways. Like I think one of the best examples of that is in Superman, Batman, Apocalypse when he has to basically evaporate all of the Doomsday clones, and he still feels like sad about it, even though they're not like really alive.
Yeah, and I think when even Diana was helping him say, "Hey, they're not really alive," he said, "But does it feel right?" Because she understands it. She was a trained Amazon warrior. And I think that's where her warrior aspect comes to the play because it's not because, oh, she's very bloodthirsty. No, she understands the weight of a warrior and understand there are moments in battle you have to make tough decisions,
Mm-hmm.
particularly. It's the same thing that she would do the same decision. Hippolyta would even do the same thing too, if not even more, because Hippolyta was this truly trained to be that type of warrior too.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie would do it. Donna would probably be the one that'd be the most difficult, but even then, Donna would have to do it.
Yeah.
Nubia would do it with no question. Again, so the Wonder family are trained enough to know this decision making skills they're going to do.
And then if anyone wants to say, well, was she offs like some of her other villains? The only villains that she actually offs is when there are certain Greek villains, because in Greek mythology there is no death. There is just they believe in rebirth and everything, so they don't really die. They just come back later.
And if we're talking about really unalivened villains, she do it to Medusa, and Medusa go back to Tartarus. She's not really like really
Yeah,
gone. She returned back to Tartarus.
yeah.
Ares is immortal. She can't really do nothing to him because along there is conflict and war. He still
Mm-hmm.
exists. She could just damage him so much. It just I think that's why, like, that's why I love Wonder Woman, and that's why I say for me personally, I can say I love Vixen a little bit more, but even then, I still love Wonder Woman even more than Vixen sometimes. And that's why I said they share the number one spot because of the fact that like I think they're both cool in their different, unique ways. When Wonder Woman is, wait, let me say this: when Wonder Woman is rated right, like absolute Wonder Woman, oh my god, I'm over the
Mhm.
moon. And even when she's written right in the main continuity, I think there's no debate about it how much people
Oh
love Wonder
yeah.
Woman.
Mhm.
But it's just also we don't want to keep pulling ourselves and we never get enough to live action too. And of course, we want different Wonder Women. I want to see Donna at this point. I love Diana,
Mhm.
but I feel like Diana has been taking so long that it's not helping that no other Wonder Girl have this progression.
Yeah.
And even for Diana, there needs to be a woman to take her spot
Because she's really
at
also
this
the
point.
only one
She
that has this problem with the Trinity. Because you have the freaking Bat family, obviously, but then even with the Superman family, like you have like Superman, Supergirl, Superwoman. You have super like there's so many different super people, but there's like only Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl. That's it, pretty much.
I think that's also I think it's because also like John at this point John Kent has been set up so
And yes,
perfectly
there's Trinity, but
as
I
the
decided not to mention her.
I would say this is also with like John Kent. John Kent has been set up so perfectly as to be the perfect legacy character of Superman, realistically. And it would be sooner than later that she also is like, one of the things. JT, is the biggest issue with the legacy of Wonder Woman is because she's in virtually no, it's not even that. Because they could replace her, is it that DC because they think about because DC is trying to do it in a more money point, right? Because if they can replace her, then they can make movies and shows, etc. But of course, the licensing part again, yet again, and also I think they're kind of afraid to commit. DC's afraid to commit to that
Yeah,
bit
you guys know people always talk about why DC resets like every 5, 10 years is because they're scared of like being they're like that person that always dates but never has like a real relationship.
they're the type of people where like, oh no, I'm ready to commit, and then like run back the door. Like you're not a committer. I meant for like storytelling perspective. No, because here's the thing: people think like even in a story perspective. No, actually, there has been cases where Diana could give up the mantle in general, and Hippolyta was like one of the proof reasons where they could be two Wonder Womans. And I think Donna would logically sense because there are times where Diana don't want to be Wonder Woman in some cases, and she really don't have to be. She can live a life, but I think it's like again they won't commit. It's the same reason why they won't. They really won't not give Batman any legacy character, and they're like, oh no, it's gonna be the new Batman.
Oh, someone's like, I won't watch any movie with her. I'm like, okay, don't watch Justice League then.
Yeah, what?
Like, the Wonder Woman is one of those inevitable people that will always be in every DC project.
Yeah,
And then also it's like, yeah, I mean, it kind of comes back to like what I've said before. It's like DC is afraid that they're going to piss off all of the fans if they try to either one write the Trinity out of the DC comic books, or two, have them pass on the mantles or in some capacity, some way, like change any of their story. Because it's like they've done it in the past. Like Dick Grayson's been Batman. We've had obviously John Kent become Superman. So it's like they've done it, but it's like it's never long term because there's always like that fear of like what if we do this and people will absolutely hate it. That's also why like Jon Stewart had like 2 issues and then was like replaced immediately by Hal Jordan coming back from the dead. Um,
I think. I
like
think okay. I was
we
gonna say I
even
don't.
had Wally, because we even had Wally that was doing really well. No one talked about Barry at all during that run, and then suddenly Barry Allen comes back, and then like we have to bring back Barry Allen. Can't have Wally be more popular than Barry Allen.
I would say it's not really like it's it is a good excuse because here's the thing because I think people are like oh it's her mortality actually the Amazon age well Diana do age be realistically because when she's off the island, she's not really immortal. Their
Mm-hmm.
immortality is tied to that island particularly. And I think people forget also they kind of change it too, where it's mostly now is longevity. They just live long enough to because they can age out their physical age particularly.
And I
So
think
like so
honestly, the
where
biggest problem was the fact that they brought Jason Todd back because like that's the precedent of them bringing back characters that were once, and so then they kept on doing it. They kept and they were like, okay,
yeah.
well we can do it with Jason Todd, we can do it with Barry Allen, and we can do it with Hal Jordan, and we can do it with everybody else.
Oh yeah, and it's also because when it comes to like Diana's age, Diana's in her, I would say, in when George Perez, she's pretty because as Steve described her, she's kind of like a teen. So I presume she's probably like in her earlier 20s and anything. And by the time we actually get Diana anywhere in her age, Diana should be in terms of real Earth age, she's in her physical 30s, particularly in her 30s. But realistically, by the time Trinity is even in the future, Diana's in her 40s. So the Amazon do age realistically, like realistically sense, or in a special case for Diana because she's been in man's world, and of course it's kind of like the rules of physics of going to another plane of existence. So you're kind of like in a sense like if you go to man's world and she's separate from Themyscira, which is in itself its own plane of existence, she
Mm-hmm.
says she has to follow she has to follow that governing rule of that world, which means Diana age. She actually literally have to age, and there's also cases where she does age naturally.
Mm-hmm. And like I think right now we're definitely seeing a push for Jessica Cruz to take the main Green Lantern mantle. I mean, we have her leading the Green Lantern Corps, the 2814 squad. So it's like we definitely have things being set up to have bigger female characters. Like we even have, of course, the Zatanna run that's just doing really well. And like I think now is kind of the time, especially with Wonder Woman about to go into public domain. Now is the time to really build up all these female characters so that there is a lot to work with. And we also know that like Diana can be like partnered with pretty much any female character in the DC universe, and she'll help them sell comic books. Like she's been with Justice League Dark, she's been with Birds of Prey, she's been with like pretty much everybody.
I think also they just need to keep her in her own. They need to keep her with more women group because I think
Yeah,
that's where fans want. They
yeah.
want Wonder Woman
Get
to
her
be
out of
more
the
women
Justice League,
focused in
man.
general. Yeah,
I keep
and I
saying it, but I'm gonna say it again. The Justice League is the weakest part of the DC universe. It's because, like, if you think about it, like, Marvel doesn't have this issue because, again, all three of their big characters are in different teams. So you have Wolverine on the X-Men, you have Spider-Man that kind of goes back and forth, and then you have, like, the Hulk that is the Avengers. So it's like you have three different
and
teams that can each sell really well, and that is why I think we really need to break up the Trinity. We need to have, like, Superman lead one team, Batman lead another team, and then Wonder Woman lead another team. Because it's like,
it,
you can still have the Justice League kind of as a concept, but it's like if you don't allow them to be separate from each other, then we're never going to see any other character step into a second place spot.
yeah, even like Gail Simone, she wanted Black Canary to be like that second woman character after Diana, and that could have been possible. But of course, DC like, well, we don't want a character who is popular than Wonder Woman and who's a skill of a fighter that Batman. And
And
I'm
it's
like,
POC.
why are we afraid? Yeah.
It's also
So why are we
completely
afraid? Because like, why are we afraid, DC? Are we afraid that we don't want to have characters who is? It's like they are like they're trying to like trick it out, and
yeah,
it's like
because like, even
no,
with like Barbara Gordon, like easily Barbara Gordon is probably the second most popular female character in DC, and they continue to hold Barbara back for some reason. They like she grew more popular than Batman himself, and then they were like, that's not okay. So let's have her become Batgirl again, so Batman becomes more popular again. And like they were so scared of Batgirl or Oracle or anything becoming more popular than Batman, and it's like you again I run into the cycle where you're holding back characters from their full potential because you're afraid that they might be more popular than your big three.
Girl, preach about it because the way how before Superman has his own show, the way how some folks about to think like, why does Supergirl has her own show? I'm like, damn, like, if Supergirl can't get anything? Like, come on.
And I'm sorry to say it, but Supergirl is the better of the super family. I mean, she's not my favorite super family member. That would be actually Steel. But like I've always liked Kara more than Clark, no offense.
I like John. I like John now more than ever, and I think it's because John, again, I think John was set up to be the perfect legacy character, and still is to this day.
Oh
He
yeah.
still is the perfectly legacy character. Anything, I think
Mhm.
that's why I'm hopefully if any writer that comes after Tom Keenan really work on Trinity. I just hope that they really push her in a way where it's like, okay, I'm behind this. I could be behind this.
I also feel like the Trinity is one of those characters where they will always be in like a top 10 or top 12 or like whatever list, but they will never be number one unless like even some of like the bad sexuals, like even some of them have like Dick Nightwing as their number one, or they have like Jason Todd as their number one, or something like that. It's like usually Batman is like number two, number three. Sometimes there are people that have Batman number one, but usually when you get into the comic books and you actually start reading them, yeah, Batman's not your number one.
Yeah, I think that's why I say for me, even I was like, oh, do I like Hippolyta more than Diana? Because even she's Wonder Woman, she has like more of like so much unique personality that I like. I was like, wow. And I never thought about older women character to be Wonder Woman. It's not like, and that's what I say, like, also, if they would have replaced Hippolyta with Wonder Woman, it's not like you can't tell the difference. She's the older version of Diana, and they look almost exactly alike.
Hmm. I thought I was gonna
And
get.
they, and
I,
then,
was, I actually, I confession, I almost thought about putting Batman on honorable mentions instead of number 12, but I'm like, I probably will get flamed if I do that, so I'm just gonna scoot him into number 12.
oh my god. No, I was like, that's why I feel like for me, I think I do share the spot. I feel like Vixen and number Wonder Woman and Vixen share that number one spot because I think I'm at the moment where they're both so important to me as characters. So I like them both. I can't choose one or the other. But it's like again, I want Vixen to do so much too, but I really wish DC don't be afraid because like, oh, we're not getting that. It's the same reason why they got mad at like Starfire's getting more than Wonder Woman. I'm like, no, they can't. Also, they're also. I feel like either way, even if Diana wasn't like used, there are other warrior women characters that can take her spot. Particularly, Big Barda's right there behind her.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like also now more than ever, it's a lot easier to read a lot of comic books because you don't have to buy all of them. You can just like get DC Universe Infinite, and it's like there's been characters that I've been exploring that I've never read before, like not in their own issues because it's like I'm never gonna buy their comic book, but it's like you get introduced to a lot of these characters, especially with All In. Like, definitely, I recommend everyone to check out All In because it's like there's a lot of characters that are getting a lot of love that you normally don't see get a lot of love. And it's kind of interesting because it's like this is the because all for those you don't know, All In is like the new kind of starting point. So basically, you can read All In without having to start at like number one or whatever. Just don't pay attention to like the issue number. Just if it says All In, it means that it's the start of the that run. So you don't have to like catch
Except
up.
for
Like
Tom Kane.
because like some of these are
Make
like
no
Green
sense.
Lantern where it's like 178, 5,000, whatever. So it's like you don't have to read everything. Just start with the all. Whenever you see the first All In come up, that's where you start.
It's the same goes for. I think they would be smart enough if they did a Vixen because I know Stephanie Phillips. Yes, not Phillips. Stephanie Williams wants to do a Vixen book,
Hmm.
and I mean, if we get a miniseries that could go turn into ongoing, because I will promote that. I will promote that almost every
Yeah.
day of the week for that one, and I'm doing that with Zatanna too, because Zatanna also needs to be pushed to the point
Hmm.
where it can become an ongoing.
Yeah. Definitely, that's gonna be like if I go to a comic book store, it's like, gonna be like the first thing that I look for. is the kind of because I definitely need it. Also, because it's not on DC Universe Infinite yet, because it usually takes like a few months for it to do that, because like they want to give it time for new comic books to actually sell. So, so
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's like, I think that's just totally fair. I feel like there's so many characters again, like Wonder Diana. And here's the thing, I love Diana. Like I grow to love Diana in terms of even like amongst the Wonder family, but that's because I started to get Diana so much more than ever,
mhm.
particularly. But you still have your favorite Wonder, but I love Diana, and it's not like there's
Yeah.
never been a day where I'm cherished because I would say Wonder Woman still shaped me and like so like that's why I said I know people are joking like, oh my god, JT, you gotta replace Wonder Woman to fix them. Like, no, I'm gonna probably just keep them. I'm gonna probably just keep them in the
Aside.
same spot, like the same spot. Meaning, I'm keeping them in the
Yeah, I
number one
know
spot
it's
together,
hard
just
to
because they're
imagine, but
both so
like comic
important to
book
me.
fans, you can have more than one number one character. Like
One
you can have
character, there.
more. You can have more than just one character that you obsess over and like. Like you don't just have to pretend to like Batman when you don't, because you think that's what's popular. It's like you can branch out a little bit. Okay, you can. It's okay. I mean, I know like Superman. Like just because you have that profile picture doesn't mean you have to only read those comic books.
I think it's also like they try to make a niche to it. It's like they get joined with fandom, particularly. But I like you don't have to always do that. But it's okay.
And like cartoon, you can read more than just the JSA.
Stop! Why would you do that? Oh, but at least with the Jazz A, it's variety of team
At
members.
least, yeah, at least JSA is like a whole team, though. Let me enjoy my own.
Lord, Lord Jesus, like
Like
I have a
no
lot
one,
of.
you can read more than just Alan Scott. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think that's actually what makes JT special is that they're always like switching up their profile pics, so they never have to be committed to one person.
I'm committed to the bit. I don't have to be. I don't have to conform. If I want to pick Vincent for a weekend and then talk for like a month or even longer, I will. If I want to talk about Star Girl for a long, and I think that's okay. You could have multiple favorite characters. I love that they're actually characters you really do care about. That is it's okay. Particularly, you're still gonna be known for like even if I talk about Vixen, I'm still known for Wonder Woman. No matter what, I can't, it's not like as inescapable.
It's kind of funny because I actually do need to start talking more about the Birds of Prey because, like, I feel like people think that my number one is Diana when it's not. Not.
They're like, wait, like you're always talking about Wonder Woman. Like, no,
No,
it's
I talk
not.
about Wonder Woman because I need her to have a freaking animated show, but like,
You know, I think this is the problem. I think if Wonder Woman had bad shows and stuff, I think people didn't have to feel like this form of defense sometime.
mhm.
And
It
I
was
think
kind of
that's
funny.
why.
Like, I used to be on like DC Twitter, and it's like, even though I talked probably the most about. I think I attracted the most of like the Wonder Woman fans, even though I was secretly a Birds of Prey fan all along.
No, so the funny enough, I was talking about how Paula Wonder Woman, and of course that did pretty well. I was like, oh, I like Paula Wonder Woman. I like She is Fear. In my I have never got that much likes on Twitter. I started getting likes like crazy. I was like, wait, what did I start getting really
It
popular?
all
And
happened
then of
because
course
I had the picture of the I had a picture of Wonder Woman from Agent of Peace in her PJs, and so I think people like saw that and was like, "Oh, you're a Wonder Woman fan."
it's the
I'm like,
same. Well, and I'm
no,
like,
I
I
also
was, and
had an
then
Oracle profile pic. To be fair,
And if another thing I always find it funny too is also when I was like at that time I was diversified and I was doing well with Lady Shiva. And it was like, okay, I'm gonna do more Wonder Woman, and then it became a thing. I was like, oh my god! And then one of my mutuals today they were making a joke like, oh no, the Wonder Woman fans are going extinct. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm still here. I'm still here, y'all. Don't forsake me. Well, we're having technical difficulties.
Star
No way.
Sapphire is like a hero. She might actually become my favorite because, like, I've always loved Star Sapphire.
Also, the color pink, yeah, fierce.
Hmm. I'm just saying, like, Starfire is like the perfect like lovers to enemies to friends again to whatever the fuck they are right now. It's like, oh my gosh, it'll be interesting. I hope they do Star Sapphire in the DCU because I think it'll just be interesting to see that conflict. I hope she's just not like DEAD. I hope. I think. I mean, I think that ring. It definitely looks like a wedding ring. So I feel like Carol Ferris is somewhere there, even if she's like. Because I think what's happening is Hal probably thinks that Carol is dead, but she's not really because she's like part of like the Star Sapphires, and he just doesn't know that yet.
Oh my god, JT, I feel like you're going on this thing.
It's kind of crazy though, because it's like you want Mercy Grace in the DCU. I don't imagine we'll probably see her. I mean, they're definitely focusing on Tessmacher and Otis, but yeah, maybe. I mean, Mercy Graves is a DCAU original, so they may want to focus more on comic book characters. But I can see a world where they at least mention Mercy or something. Um, but I think in general, like I mean, I'm sure they're going to like show love to some of the DCAU OGs. I mean, we're probably gonna see freaking Harley Quinn, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, okay. I get what you say cartoon. Yeah, I think it's also where I think now create. I think a lot of people are realize they're starting to have an epiphany where you don't have to have a number one favorite character. And I
Hmm.
think this is I think this is what happened because I'd be admit to say, I think people don't realize when you start to have one favorite character you talk consistently, even though you have a bunch of favorite character, you could get yourself stuck,
Hmm.
particularly.
Yeah.
Um, and I know some mutuals who could get themselves stuck that way. Thank God, like, you and now even me. I think even Funko doesn't get them stuck in that position too because we
Yeah.
could diversify, but I think people who get
And
themselves
also, I
stuck
can
in one
admit that
category.
Batman will lose a majority of the fights y'all are debating about. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna power scale and he still ends up losing, like, I'm sorry.
You just kicking the hornet's nest, are you? Like, Lord.
It's like that's why I've always found like the Batman versus Superman debate stupid. Like, yes, there was once upon a time where I believed that Batman would win in that fight, and then I grew up and realized that it'd probably be Superman.
No, for real. Katu say Ruby is being messy. No, Ruby's gotta be spicy.
I'm
Speak your
sorry.
truth. Speak
No,
it. No,
I don't know anything
no,
about
before.
Marvel, so I'm not even going to begin to discuss that. But
No, but all intents
it's
and
kind of funny
purposes, I
though.
do think I know for all intents and purposes, I do know there are some mutuals who try to diversify their content a little bit, and sometimes it works, but it didn't work for most because of the fact that like they got so known to that one character, it got them stuck.
Mhm.
And realistically, as comic book fans, we cannot be like that. Like Twitter fans, you kind of get away with that because in Twitter, like no one really like. Yeah, but I feel like comic book fans, we have the unique opportunity to show every character that we like,
Yeah.
whether it's from comics, manga to everything. And so I feel like with comic books, we have our top five
Yeah.
favorite character. Why not talk about them?
Yeah. And that's also why I try to keep my
Wait,
account
how to
still
say,
variety.
Bruce? Yeah.
Say what?
Wait, Katu says Ruby's trying to get these haters on. She's right though. You think you're trying to get these haters
I
on?
can
Well,
make a
yeah. I
joke, but
mean, like she's
I
not
don't want to
lying.
start anything. I could make a joke, but I'm not going to because I don't want to start anything and have them whine about it in Real Superman's Discord. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. It is kind of funny though when y'all go writing to Real Superman about it. It's like I'm in the Discord server. I know y'all are talking. What do you think is happening here? Anyways, I think it would be like that's why I always keep my account like variety because I'm also just not just a comic book creator. This account is for like everything, and I've been trying to keep it pretty variety as well. I mean, I recently just talked about like Snow White and stuff like that, so it's like I always like to keep it fresh, and also with Percy Jackson getting a season two confirmation release date, and then season three coming out, there's probably gonna be a lot of Percy Jackson content coming.
Yeah, I think it's also, I feel like when it comes to like any characters, I feel like I kind of learned because I used to be more variety too, and I think I got so lost a little bit with Wonder Woman, little not because like I didn't got lost, but it's more like I just needed to diversify what I needed to do, and I think Vixen, really love Vixen, and I like again I could share a number one spot with them like with Wonder Woman because she's still a character that I really love,
Mm-hmm.
particularly. Hey Ion, and I love Vixen, I love Wonder Woman, I love Thunder, I love Grace Choi, I love Katana. So I like to talk about all of them, and you know what? Like
Yeah.
I'll be damned if I be stuck in a one category too,
I've
because
recently
I
been
think that's what.
campaigning for more Dr. Light because I love Hoshi, but she has like I like a lot of characters that have like two appearances. Like I love Mogo, I love Dr. Light. I need them to have more love. Like I know Mogo's been kind of popping up recently, and I'm really hoping that with GLC he'll pop up again. Um, I really need Hoshi to get some love, man. Especially, I mean, usually she's on like the JLI, but like, come on, man. She can be in places outside of Crisis, man. She doesn't have to be just in Crisis.
Yes. Oh my God! I want Doctor. I want
Because she's
I
also
want
one
her
of
to
the
be
few.
more.
She's one of the few Asian characters that isn't some freaking Dragon Warrior ninja character, like or smart, like genius. I like, come on, just let her be that non-typical Asian representation, man. Please.
Oh my God, oh Lord, yes! I love her so
I love
much.
Cassandra Cain and I love them, but they are we keep getting stuck with ninja characters, man. We are more than just
Yeah,
ninjas.
I think that's what's like. I love Lady Shiva, but even with Lady Shiva and Cassandra, they're stuck with that problem too. Like they fitted that
Especially because
the
it
trope of
builds on
like.
that like Tiger Mom idea as well. So it's like a lot of this. There's only two races when it comes to Asian representation. It's either Japanese or
Lord,
Chinese or both. In terms of Lady Shiva.
I think for now, DC's biggest issue, they just don't know how to do with black characters. So when they give us the DC Power Company, I'm like, no, actually promote your characters because now you have social media. And I swear to God, I will be promoted that stuff, particularly
Mhm.
now. Now,
Yeah.
because I think what it is now, DC fans need to stop with this one. We need to like one character that's going to be your main. You're going to be known for that. I'm like, no, we have multiple characters that we like.
Yeah.
We could talk about multiple things, then walk gum and chew at the same time.
We can't wait for me to do a list of my top Green Lantern characters, and none of them are going to be human, except maybe Jessica.
Oh my God! Oh aliens!
Probably also John as well, because I mean I grew up with John, so he probably will end up being grandfathered in it as well. I don't know. I haven't really actually sat down and done that list in a long time, so I have to figure that one out.
Yep. I don't know. It's just so much. I think that's why I want to do more. Like again, like I said before, variety because like I'm going to talk more about Vixen, of course,
Mhm.
even more because I think this is like again her and Wonder Woman is like my number one. I want to talk more about Stargirl. How much Stargirl could be really utilized in a really good way. Other women characters and other characters in general. I think there's so much more to meet, like to us to meet the eye, and I think comic book fans need to start reminding themselves
Mhm.
you're more than. I think it's because they're trying to be like I'm the Superman lore master, or
Mhm.
I'm like this and that. I'm like, no, you have more. There's more than one character you're good at talking about.
Mhm.
They used to, you, yeah, and I think people are just afraid to just say it.
Yeah. Also, because they know that that's probably what's gonna get them more views, so it's like I mean, y'all, we can you can. There's ways to game the system and still get views without talking about Wonder Woman, Superman, or Batman.
Yeah, look, my Vixen videos have been doing really good. I'm like, as long as you're confident in even talking about them, I think those are people are self conscious too because they feel
Mhm.
like they if their like videos are not doing good, be confident, have fun.
Yeah. Sometimes the one that you don't expect to go viral will go viral.
Yeah,
Like
honestly though.
my video when I made it at like I don't know like 12 a.m. about WWE, and then I wake up and that's like freaking like 190 like sometimes things just go a little bit viral. You don't expect it. You're like, okay, I'll make a quick video. I'll
No,
go to
and it
bed, and
does.
then boom. You're like, wait, what happened?
No, it really happened. Like that's a real thing. Like sometimes you don't know what stuff's gonna blow up, and when they do, it's just when they go viral, it's like the things you didn't expect to go viral for, and you sometimes you like, oh wow, I didn't know. But you have this is where you say you diversify your account, you make it new, you make it fresh. And I used to do that so much. I even did like the LGBTQ thing, where different LGBT characters. So
Mhm.
I'll always say this: make different stories, make it different character, talk about different stories. And I think if we could do that, I think we could be so great as DC fans particularly.
Yeah. Also, because the more that you
God,
talk
it's
about
so
those obscure characters and the more that they go viral, the more willing DC and like WB would be more willing to do projects with them. Because they'll say, oh, wait, what is this
yes.
character that's going viral? Oh, like, what? Who is. Oh, yeah, we forgot about her.
Yeah,
Because, I mean,
I would
DC
say
has a lot
this.
of characters. They do forget about them sometimes. Like,
Yeah, and it's also I think us talk about characters and obscure characters or underrated characters that we like. It helps other fans to get into them too,
Mhm.
like who are
Like I
new,
know
who are
Doom Patrol's
newcomers too.
been going pretty crazy recently because a lot of us have mentioned Doom Patrol and like people are reading Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol and there's obviously the Doom Patrol show. It's like y'all need to get to know Danny the Street. Like that's kind of funny because like the way that I got to know Danny the Street was I was looking up like stupid DC characters and he was like on that they were like on that list. And I was like, who the fuck is Danny the Street? That sounds like a joke character. Lo and behold, it's part of Doom Patrol. And then I get introduced to Doom Patrol. I'm like, oh shit. Like, damn. Okay. It's kind of like how Squirrel Girl was like a meme. And then people like started actually reading her.
I
And
love
they're like,
her.
wait, wait.
She is so cool.
It's
I
like
love her so
sometimes
much.
the stupidest characters will be your favorite characters. That's actually why I like the Wonder
Yeah,
Twins. Like I don't even joke. I actually really do like the Wonder Twins. Like I I think sometimes it's like I get it. I think it's kind of like what I said. I think sometimes DC fans just take things too seriously, and so it always has to be like Batman, doom and gloom, and like death or like something. It's like sometimes it could just be a fun little thing that like it's just fun to look at. It's kind of like when we were watching that DC documentary and that guy was like, I'm gonna make Batman the way that he's supposed to be, like all serious, and then like, God forbid they have like Adam West Batman. Which is kind of funny because like Adam West is the reason why we have a lot of like gadgets for Batman, like gadgets for Batman. It's the reason why you power scalers are able to even do power scaling because Adam West was like, you know what? Well, not Adam West, but the creators of the Adam West show was like, let's make these like gadgets that Batman is always like prepared for, and so like all of the things that you're using is from Adam West.
mm-hmm.
Robert Gordon is from Adam
It's
West.
okay. It's okay, and I think there's fun. There's so much fun. Like there's so much you could do and talk about, and just have fun in these characters, particularly. I don't know. I don't know. I think DC just really just don't know where. I think we need, as a fan, we just need to talk about. We don't need to
Mhm.
be known like, oh, you're the Wonder Woman person, or you're the Green Lantern person, you're
Yeah.
the Flash. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
no,
100%.
we're multiple things. We're multiple people too. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I start to. It gives me the ick now, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna talk about who I want to talk about, and that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, not gonna head out, but I'm just gonna head out for now because I could get something to eat real quick.
Okay, I'll probably
But
we'll start letting guests up so y'all can come up and yap about whatever.
okay, I'm gonna come right back as a guest too. In general, I just want to get
Okay.
something to eat, but I'm
This
gonna
is
say
good.
this
I
because
just
we
need
need
more
to
of
do
it.
this again.
Yeah.
We
Like
need to do
some
this again. I'll say, guys, thank you.
some people like give us names in like the Discord servers or whatever. Like tell us like what our podcast should be called.
So thank you for welcome for our TED Talk. I'm gonna eat, but I'm gonna be right back in Ruby's live when you guys are on.
Yep.
But we're gonna do this again, and I think we need to find a topic we want to talk about too.
Yeah.
But see y'all for a
Yeah.
couple of minutes before I come back.
Oh man, you guys didn't waste any time.